Namaskar everyone, good afternoon and greetings for the day. Friends, today we are joining to actually go through a new learning process. The talk of the town, the talk of the country, the talk of the world is AI everywhere. And how can the professional accounting bodies be behind? And that is where South Asian Federation of Accountants, which is actually joined by the president, Mr. Hesana, is joined us today to share this first ever webinar which we are doing under the flagship of SAFA with all you members of SAFA countries across the board. I welcome each one of you for this interesting session on AI, very rightly worded out, which is accelerate AI transformation. What an interesting discussion it's going to be. Just imagine when three such people who are speakers today, who are from a different background, but the common language is AI. And the other common language, which is the core languages on the accounting profession. First person who's going to speak on the framework of AI. Second is going to speak on a real world experience. What are the opportunities and also the challenges and threats which are there in AI. And the third person is going to talk about AI innovation and research. I don't think any session at the country level or might be at the SAFA level or at the global level where we have got three sections very effectively. One on the framework, which is primarily a knowledge. Second is experience, and based on the experience or research, these three sections are being put forward today in this discussion effectively. First of all, let me thank the President SAFA who actually initiated this thought that why not we actually take a session on this particular concept so that the members of all the SAFA countries and globally with the accounting boards actually can get the advantage of knowing these three segments effectively in such short time. First of all, with me, I also have my vice chairman who is in India, particularly on the AI in ICAI, Umesh Sharma, who joins me today for this session. And let me quickly tell you who is going to talk on what. We have Prabhas, who is going to speak on framework of AI. We have Phil, who is going to talk on the challenges and opportunities in the real-time cases of different markets, different companies as such, what has gone through an experience. And we have Jannat, who is going to talk on the innovation and research side. So before we go to the speakers for their deliberation, let us listen from the President SAFA about his thought on AI and what is his message to the SAFA countries members, whether in practice, whether in industry, or the students who are actually doing their job. They can actually use effective way AI as a tool. Over to you, President Hesana.
Thank you very much, Mr. Animas Sharma. So Chairman AI in ICAI. And so we have two Sharmas, alternate Chairman Umesh Sharma and my friend Prabhash Galagedra, Phil and Janet joining from Australia. Thank you very much for accepting our invitation to join this webinar on behalf of SAFA and ICAI for hosting this for the benefit of all the SAFA member bodies. I think you rightly mentioned, so we want to embark on this journey and enlighten all our membership with regard to this new trend happening across the world. Because day by day we see new information, we hear new data relating to this technology. And sometimes there are discussions with the accountants going to lose their jobs to AI or whether AI is an enabler. So I think we have the right person to address these areas. Prabhash Galagadhar recently even published a book, AI for Finance Professionals, and CA Sri Lanka was fortunate to publish it on behalf of Prabhash in Sri Lanka. I'm sure he's going to share a lot of insight based on his research done, because I had the opportunity of going through the chapters of this particular book and how it's going to create impact on the finance professionals. I think what I feel is AI, with the AI takes over finance roles, I believe it's not AI which is going to take finance roles. It's person who knows AI going to take our roles, not AI itself. So I believe it is the case going to be. So we need to learn and embrace and make it an enabler. So that's the, I think, idea behind this whole knowledge exploring sessions that we are going to continue. So with that short note, I think the gathering is here to listen to our experts and panelists than us speaking. So again, I thank all the members joining and contributing to this worthy cause. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, President. I think in short, you have put forward the vision very clearly, what is there from SAFA point of view, and also what the members can expect from this session. Very importantly, when we are talking about all the three segments, it's making a whole lot of difference for people to know in this short time, these three parts, which are very important and critical. We also have, fortunately, President SAFA with us, Mr. Ranjeet Agarwal, President of ICAI, joining us. And he is one person who has actually put the vision in mind of a lot of people, which is called AI in ICAI. I'll see if he's joined already completely. President, sir.
Sorry, I didn't see him. Is he there?
Yeah, he just joined. He just joined. He just
okay.
joined. So,
yes, they are. Yes.
So we initiated the process where Mr. Hesana, the President SAFA, has given his initial address. And just to take it back for a moment, sir, we have three such people who are going to talk on three segments, three legs of AI process. One is on the complete framework of AI, which is the basic knowledge of AI as such, and a person who's authored a beautiful book on AI, which is Prabhas. Then second is Phil is there, who is actually going to talk on the practical aspects, real challenges, primarily on the challenges and opportunities in AI from the real examples. And third is we have Jannat with us, who is going to talk on the research and innovation with AI. So there are three parts in today's discussion, which is now telecasted for the entire SAFA countries. And we look forward to your words of wisdom also, and your thoughts with regards to AI in ICAI. So that the alignment of SAFA and ICAI, which has always been there, SAFA president happens to be from Sri Lanka. So the president's message is not only for SAFA, but also representing Sri Lanka. And you putting forward from your thoughts with regards to India, I think the combination is going to go well, sir. So over to you.
Thank you very much. Very respected the president of the SAFA and Hasana Krupaji. Thank you very much for arranging this webinar jointly with the ICAI IT committee of DAAB. We have the chairperson AI in ICAI, our Dayanivas Sharmaji, vice chairperson Umesh Sharma virtually joined, and all the three speakers who has joined from various countries. Thank you very much, because this is a very important topic. And if you talk about entire world, only two words are spreading across the world. One is AI, second is sustainability. So AI and the sustainability are the word which are talk of the world, global south, everybody is talking. And in our institute also, we have taken a lot of initiative. The best and the most important initiative we have already started, how this AI in ICAI, which talks about AI is a artificial intelligence, but in our accounting terminology, we are talking accounting with innovation or auditing with innovation. That is the AI we have defined, and taking advantage of this technology, how we can make the life of our student and member easy, how they can discharge their function with due care with the help of the technology. That is the commitment, or that is the steps we are taking for the members and student at large. We are in the process to develop our AI, ICAI GPT, wherein all the student material can be downloaded in the system, and the student will be able to know what is the accounting standard, what is the how many questions has come in the examination, on which topic, how many times, how they can be this AS2 or AS1 or Caro reporting, or how this is helpful for the student. Everything, all the material will be on the mobile of the student's hand. On the same line, the how the members, while discharging their function, can do take the help of this technology, where one auditor has qualified the report, how other auditor has done in the other audit report, how to know that. So if the all the audit report of the listed company can be downloaded in the GPT, we can at the click of the mouse can know with the data analytics what are the qualification, on which topic, on which area, how many auditors are giving qualification. So as a reference point, these can be a helping tool while discharging their function. And we are also in the process to make this entire system on the ICAI GPT, and all the standards, whether it's the sustainability, accounting, auditing, forensic accounting and investigating standards, we have also developed. All this can be available on this GPT of the members and the student at large of ICAI. So we are helping, and in the SAFA, we will give a presentation also how we are developing on this topic, and how the other members body of the SAFA can get benefit of this new technological development we are taking. So that is the idea we are taking through. We compliment our chairman and vice chairman Dayanivasji and Umesh for taking all this initiative, and all the members who have joined from various parts. Thank you very much, and thanks to Hasina Kurappaji, President SAFA, for taking lead and arranging this kind of innovative seminar on AI. Thank you very much, and I hope we would have a very effective and enriching experience with the wisdom of the speaker who has joined today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, President ICAI. Your words of inputs also, I think, will go as a message to all the people where we are actually moving from our side. And generally, people are always thinking that the accountant means conservatism, but here we are talking about the future and innovation as such. So with this, I'll move on to requesting Mr. Umesh Sharma to kindly conclude this opening session so that we can directly start with the presentations of the people.
Yes, thank you, our President Ranjeet Kumar Agarwal sir. Thank you, SAFA President Mr. Hasna, and thank you to our Chairman Dayan and all the speakers who are going to the discussion. And let's take this discussion across the SAFA countries. And one more important.
You unmute.
Yeah, 16th of July, we are planning an AI conference in Hyderabad. So we will request all the members and participants to join for this conference. And let's start our discussion on the topic. Thank you, Ranjeet sir. Thank you, Asna sir. Over to you, Daya sir.
Thank you very much, Umeji, and I'll request the team to actually place all the speakers on the screen so that we start moving forward. Just as a process, we all need to complete that bit part of recognition and thanking the presidentships of the respective locations to give us that kind of opportunity to interact. In the meantime, all the people join us. First, friends, as we mentioned, the sequence of the discussion is going to be very straight and simple. no interference after this. You are going to have these three legendary people who are going to talk from their own perspective, one on the knowledge, one on the experience, and one on the innovation and research. So let's start the discussion with Prabhash. And thanks to you all three people to join from Australia to share your thoughts, your views. And now this entire session is handed over to these three speakers and they can take it forward. And in any case, we are available. You can just call on. We'll just come on the screen. Over to you, Prabhas.
Thank you very much. It's actually great to be here. Good afternoon, everyone. SAFA President Heshana and the President of ICAI and all the other dignitaries. It's a great privilege to be part of this conversation and part of basically the profession across the South Asian region. And my origination basically goes back to CA Sri Lanka. So I'm a member of CA Sri Lanka, and I started off as an accountant, even though I subsequently moved out of finance into AI. For last 10, 15 years, I've been working in the AI in Australia. So, but my heart is still with, the profession, chartered accountancy profession. So great to be part of this conversation today. And thank you very much for the opportunity. Today, I'm going to basically cover a few things before handing over to Phil for some parts experience and then Janet after. So I'll do a very quick intro and, intro into AI and then probably go through the essential 5 framework. And I'll probably cover most of the framework and then probably hand over to the other 2 speakers to do their parts after. So that's kind of the agenda. So let me get in. Before we do any of that, we need to do a very quick introduction on AI. I'm pretty sure all of you guys know what AI is. I don't know how to give you a definition of AI. But, for the purpose of basically putting everyone on the same page, to me, AI is smart things, smart, machines, smart, basically non-human things that are going to basically help us, live a better life, do a better job and, get on our life, with, much more safety. That is what AI is to me. There are, smart houses, smart, basically, equipment inside the house, smart cars and smart, computers and smart applications that are basically intelligent and they are going to basically make our lives better. That's kind of what AI to me is at the moment. There is a basic definition here. In my layman language, it is basically machines and algorithms that think like human, act like human, behave like human. So for the first time, we as human beings, we have come to realization that there are going to be, things that are smarter, or in some cases, even more smarter than us. And we are going to basically make use of them. And, that's why we are here today. So that's kind of the grounding position on the definition of AI. But reason why we are all talking about AI is that there is an AI boom. What is a boom? Boom is a situation where there is increased interest in a particular subject. When it comes to AI, there is a boom at the moment. This probably started about a year and a half ago, maybe about a year ago, and this is going to continue for a few more years. AI is the most researched word or search word on the internet. It is the most talk word in the internet, and it is the word that is basically attracting a lot of interest around the world today. And, that's the reason as to why we all are basically trying to lead this conversation, and we are trying to basically get ahead of this boom and, become the champions of this boom at the moment. Interestingly, most of the companies that have mentioned the word AI in their market updates have seen a significant increase in their market capitalization. So everyone wants to see who the AI winners in the marketplaces are, and anyone basically incorporating AI strategies into their, company strategy are going to basically get recognized in the marketplace and get rewarded in the marketplace. And when you combine all the investments that have been basically allocated to the AI across the world, it's more than $1 trillion. It's a couple of $1 trillion. So that's basically hitting top 20 world economies around the world. So that's basically a huge, investment in one particular area. So there is a boom, and we are basically probably at the start of that boom, and we are probably, going to capitalize on this boom and get ahead than anyone else. As Heshana said, those who are going to basically be AI savvy are the ones who are going to win this race. So when you basically look at the companies that are basically frequently talked about, OpenAI is standing out. They have made significant investments in the innovation of AI, and of course, their ChatGPT has transformed the AI innovation. But there are others who are basically catching up. Anthropic is another one who has a similar GPT platform to OpenAI's platform. Google is, even though slightly staying behind, but catching up very fast. They are making billions of dollars in that. And Facebook also is basically investing heavily and has been basically catching up to OpenAI. So the race is continuing, and there are big winners in this at the moment. But these are the names that stand out, and they make billions of dollars of investments into this in their platforms. But the history of AI goes back, probably about 80 years, and it can be easily traced back to one individual, Alan Turing, who basically came up with the first computing platform, if you want to call it that. Alan Turing is the one who basically uncoded the Germans' secret coding, and he basically was one of the main reasons as to why Allied forces was able to win the Second World War. So from there onwards, we have seen a significant, basically, upward trajectory in terms of capabilities, starting from 50s, where AI was first coined, and then every decade has seen, except 70s, some major transformational capabilities rolled out. First being the first natural, language created in 1960s. 80s basically where we saw a lot of expert systems. 90s where we basically saw computers beating experts in certain games like chess and Go, and we saw autonomous gadgets in 2000s like automatic vacuum cleaners and so on and so forth. And then comes basically 2010s where we saw a lot of voice assistants like Siri and Alexa and so on and so forth coming out. Then comes the 20s, where we've seen a massive explosion and all of a sudden a massive trajectory upward. So even though we see the boom now, but this has basically, gradually progressed over so many years of investment and so many years of research. However, the phase today is ChatGPT, to the point that we all think that ChatGPT is only AI. But that is just a fraction of AI. That is not just AI. The AI basically goes way bigger, way beyond that ChatGPT. AI is much bigger than ChatGPT or a chatbot. ChatGPT was launched in November 2022, and since then, it has grown so fast to the point that it, acquired 100 million users within 2 months. Became the fastest growing consumer app. Today, it has millions of users. There are 2 versions of it, as you know. One is a paid and a free version. And as I said, it is the face, and everyone thinks AI is ChatGPT. But they have done a phenomenal job, basically innovating in the field of AI and, making AI a buzzword today. But, when it comes to our jobs, what we are seeing in the marketplace, as Seshan said, in his remarks, those who are basically getting AI ready, AI skilled, are getting a premium in the marketplace. This is based on market research globally by Hayes, and Hayes basically says that those who are in AI jobs today are basically getting a significant premium in the marketplace. So eventually, those who are AI savvy will also command a premium in different professions as well. Even in our profession, like our finance profession, those who are AI savvy will basically definitely command a premium in the marketplace. So we don't have to left behind. We have to basically catch up and then probably get ahead of the game. What does this mean for finance? It is impacting finance in multiple different ways, right? So all the professional bodies, including all staff bodies, are basically trying to create the curriculum for the future for the accountants. And some are basically slightly ahead than the others, but no one has figured out what they are. So there's a lot of work happening across curriculums to basically make the future accountants ready and our profession viable in the age of AI. Business expectations on accountants are also changing. A lot of businesses are expecting accountants to basically be aware of it and probably drive this in their organizations. After all, accountants are probably the most important cog in any organization, bringing all these different parts into a coherent structure. So finance have to get ahead of the technology and understand what we can do in the business world. So there's huge expectation on all of you to be AI savvy and then drive transformation and accelerate the transformation in your workplace as well as in your profession. And then the finance infrastructure. As the president of ICAI mentioned, there are a lot of tools coming out from professional bodies. All the tools, the GL tools, the auditing tools, the assurance tools, the treasury tools, you name it, all are going to be AI driven. Some are already AI driven, and we are going to have educational tools AI driven. And all these tools will basically make not just our students' life easy, not just members' life easy. They will make all the basically organizations much more productive as well. What does that mean for all of us? It means opportunities everywhere. And all what you have to do is grab them from both hands. So that's where we are today. And that's why you are keen to learn, what we can do. Now, having done the introduction, I want to get into the essential 5. These are the 5 things you must do in your organization. If you haven't started it, you must start it from tomorrow. So let me go through the 5 first very quickly, and then probably cover these tools in my on my computer. So the first one is a digital twin or AI assistant. You're going to have an AI assistant in your workplace, in your pocket from tomorrow. And I'll show you how you could do this. And then you are going to basically, and for that, for the AI assistant or digital twin, this twin will not replace you. This twin will make your work easier, much more productive. This twin will basically make your organizations much more productive. And it's not going to basically make you redundant, as I said. So those who are, savvy enough, intelligent enough, knowledgeable enough to use them in a much more productive way, you're going to be the AI winner. So the next one is auto ML. What is auto ML? ML is machine learning, right? So as we know, machine learning today is for machine learning engineers or data scientists. That's what we all think. But I'll show you how to do machine learning yourself from tomorrow. You can do yourself machine learning today. There are tools out there that you can leverage in your workplace to do machine learning yourself. You don't have to be a data scientist. You don't have to be a data engineer. All what you have to do is how to use the tool and how to apply machine learning models, most of which you cover through your accounting education. Third is insights. Why do we need insights if you're going to have all these tools? That's because everyone in organizations are not going to have machine learning tools. Everyone in your organization is not going to have a digital twin or AI assistant. We have to make sure that these tools are carefully used and, curated properly. So you need AI platforms or insight platform for all of your people in the organizations to access these capabilities. So there are tools, and I'll use common tools to basically showcase some of these capabilities. Then comes the frameworks. JMI is the first one. Maturity of data, maturity of modeling, and maturity of interfacing. So maturity of data, how good your data is critical. Without mature data, you can't do modeling. And if your modeling is mature, no point doing modeling if you can't incorporate them into your work processes or to your reporting or to your activities. So all 3 have to be mature for you to be a mature AI organization. Innovate, and Phil will cover experience on DMI. And under innovate, this is a time for you to innovate. And you have to basically focus on one type of innovation, which is game-changing innovation. That's the type of winning innovation you should do. And Janet will cover that in more detail. Now, having said that, let me go to the first one. AI assistant. What is AI assistant? AI assistant is tools, generative AI tools that you can leverage today in your workplace to do things much more easier. As your president of ICAI mentioned, he's going to have a ICAI, GPT to make students' life easier. So if you are a member, if you are a student, if you are basically a seasoned professional or CFO in an organization, you're going to have multiple Gen AI tools in your kit. All of them combined is your AI assistant. All of them combined is your digital twin. So you need to basically leverage the multiple, GPTs to make your life much more productive. This is where Gen AI tools or GPTs fit in. It is a subset of AI. It is not AI. As I said before, ChatGPT is not AI. ChatGPT is type of AI that is capable of generating content. There are ideas, stories, conversations, images, videos, you name it, you can use GPTs to generate all of that. This is the top 50 released last month. There are now so many organizations coming out with their GPTs or Gen AI platforms. But there are very clear winners. Obviously, OpenAI is one of the winners, but there are other three who are basically winning the race as well. One key feature of all of this is they are multimodal. What does multimodal mean? They can do multiple generations. They can do text, they can do images, they can do videos, they can do music, so it can do multiple things. And there is a massive development happening at the moment. You will see releases coming out every 3 months with significantly better capabilities than the ones before. So you have to catch your breath every time they release something and then probably get ahead of everyone else. Now, by 2032, this Gen AI market is going to be about more than $1 trillion. This is not what I am saying. This is what Fortune is saying. So that's about 40% increase every year. Yes, about 40% increase every year. That's a massive market opportunity. There's a massive market opportunity for all of us to get into this Gen AI marketplace as well. Now, what can these AI tools do for finance? It can basically do automated entry. It can do financial forecasting and modeling. It can do anomaly detection and fraud prevention. It can do tax planning and compliance. It can do financial reporting. It can do treasury work. You name it, anything. That's why I say these tools are basically your digital twin, your version of your digital version, who is going to make you productive in your workplace. I'm going to basically use the first tool, which is I'm going to use ChatGPT for that, and I'm going to use a data set with it. This data set is a bike rental data in the city of New York for 2 years, 2011 and 2012. And I'm going to do multiple things with it. So let me get into it. Before I do that, let me quickly show the Excel file. This is the data in an Excel file. You have about 14 columns, it has date, the season, the year, month, weekday, and weather, temperature, humidity, wind speed, casual registrants, casual users, registered users, and total users. Very simple data set, about 2 years worth of data. Now I'm going to go to ChatGPT. This is my ChatGPT, right? This has 3 versions, as you know. This is the 4.0, which is the latest version. This is the 4 paid version, and this is the previous version. I'm going to use the most up-to-date version, which is 4. Now I'm going to message my, hey mate, I'm Australian, how to say mate, can you analyze this data, which is New York city's bike rental data and provide a review. Let's see what it can do. I completely forgot. Clever guy. I completely forgot to attach the file. Let me attach now. Here you go. System is much smarter than what I think, what you and I think. There you go. It is telling me there are 14 columns, 731 entries, and all what these columns mean. I didn't tell any of that. It is basically recognizing what I have done. It is doing some statistical calculations for me. This is your assistant doing this work within seconds. There you go. Has analyzed all that and doing descriptive statistics as well. There you go. It is doing visual trends. Next, let's analyze the impact of weather conditions. Let's see what it is doing. So there you go. It has analyzed all of that and then telling me what the correlations are. What is happening with that. So let it finish its analysis. And then I'm going to basically go through very quickly what it has done. First, identified what sort of data. And it told me what sort of basically trends you could see. It gave me an overview of 2 years worth of data with trends. And then it compared casuals and registered users. Was clever enough not to add the two and give the total. Descriptive analysis, it is basically doing a descriptive analysis of totals, mean, median, standard deviation, all of that. And then it is giving me visual trends. First is the weather. So good weather impacts the bike rentals. And then it gives me the correlation for that. It is giving me a lot of information in seconds. Can you analyze the seasonal trends? Okay, let's ask that question from the GPT. Let's give a few seconds. There you go. It is already analyzing the seasonal trends. And asking me whether it should visualize trends for rental by year. Yes, please do that. It has done all of that less than within a few minutes. Now I'm going to ask him something that I haven't given him. I'm going to ask him to compare these sales with the public holidays in New York. Can you analyze rentals during public holidays? Let's see what it can do. Saying it has to get public holidays. There you go. It grabbed public holidays from the internet so quickly within few seconds, and then giving me the total analysis. Non-holidays, average is 4,500. Public holidays, 3,100. What a brilliant, what a brilliant assistant this is. It is giving all these answers within seconds. How powerful would this be if you had this in your pocket from tomorrow? Now I'm going to basically go out of this data and ask it to do a slightly different thing. Can you, we want to expand this business to South Asia. Can you identify markets in South Asia? Sorry about the cough. Give me a list of cities. Mumbai, India. Delhi, India. Bangalore, India. Kathmandu, Nepal. Bangladesh, Dhaka. Colombo, Sri Lanka. And it is telling me do this by population density. Brilliant. Now I want to basically focus on the Mumbai market. Let's see whether this can help me out with that. Can you do? It's pausing a bit. Probably internet taking the bandwidth. Can you do a market research for the Mumbai market? Bang. It is doing a market research for the Mumbai market. How brilliant is that? Let's see whether he can. Can you identify competitors in Mumbai? I'm going a little bit slower because of the bandwidth. There you go. If you are from Mumbai, just go and verify whether this is accurate. Just give me the competitors in the Mumbai market. How brilliant is that? That's a brilliant way of basically getting help from someone. And we did this probably less than 10 minutes. But can you do that with your assistant, human assistants? You cannot. Can you do it yourself so quickly? No, you cannot. This is the brilliance of AI assistants or digital twins you have today, and you can use GPTs. Now I'm going to go out of this and try something slightly different. Now I want to do a financial plan. In order to do a financial plan, I'm going to go into a customized GPT. So there are multiple customized GPTs that are available here. This is where you can bring all of your different GPTs into one place. And in this customized GPT, I have this financial planning and forecasting one. So I'm going to load my data here again. This is the bike rental. And I'm going to ask this GPT, can you do a sales forecast for 2013 based on the attached file? It is analyzing, understood the data format. Let's see what it is going to do. It is doing the same analysis there, understanding the data, and it is aggregating data by month. And then it is preparing the data for the forecast. Less than a minute. And it's telling me that there are some data format issues and formats don't match. So it is probably converting the data into the right format. Data has been successfully aggregated. Now here's the first few rows of the monthly data. There you go. It has done a brilliant job, basically summarizing all this data. Now next, let's build a time series forecast model for each of them. We will use there are some bandwidth issues with the webinar, and it is running slowly because of that. It is converting the data again. And doing a visualization for 2 years. And doing the forecast after. It is running an AI algorithm now. An AI algorithm is doing the forecast for me. How brilliant is that? So that's one way of basically using your assistant to do multiple things. I'm going to basically go into the second custom GPT, which is preparing a slideshow. So in order to prepare a slideshow, I'm going to grab some content from the previous chat. Hopefully I can go in there. So this is the Mumbai, question. Let's see what I can do this. This is the competitor analysis data or the competitors in Mumbai market. And I'm going to copy, ask this GPT to prepare a slide so that I can give it to my management. Can you do a slide for the below? And I'm going to copy that. It wants to talk to a different GPT aloud. And it is basically doing the slideshow now. It'll take a little bit of time, a little bit longer than getting answers, but it is basically doing the slideshow. So this is your assistant. So if you're not using this today, why not? Why can't you do it from tomorrow? This is your digital assistant. This is your AI assistant. This is your digital twin. It's not going to basically make you redundant. It is going to make your life much more easier and efficient. So I'm going to basically wait for a few seconds until it generates some slides. There you go. It generated the first slide. Let me show you the slide. So there you go. What a beautiful slide it is. And you can just download this, and you can even give your company format and I ask it to do it, and it'll do it very quickly. So that's the first pillar of basically having your own assistant. So I'm going to basically come back to the slideshow. So we did this. So we, as I said, there are 3 versions. So we use the most recent version. But these are the 2 things you must be aware of it. You must be aware of how to write your prompts, how effective your prompts should be, how to ask questions from your own digital twin. But if you have chat's history there, it's going to remember what you asked previously. So it is a good thing. Now, prompt engineering is something that you have to master, how to ask the question from the GPT. The other thing that you have to be aware of is hallucination or lying, or basically giving you answers that are false. Your assistant is going to give you answers as if they are right. So you should be able to basically distill them from, bad, from, separate the good versus bad. That's a capability you have to have. Your assistant is not going to be able to do that. So you have to basically make sure you understand that part. Now I'm going to come back to, so that's the first pillar. So you must have your assistant in your pocket from tomorrow. If not, think about why not. If your organization is not allowing it to happen, you must basically discuss this with you. If you are in a senior position, you probably, think about this for key roles in your organization. I'm sure some of you already have this in your workplaces and trained on your own data. Now I'm going to go into AutoML. As I said, AutoML is machine learning that you're going to do using platforms. So let's go through a quick definition of what is AutoML. AutoML is automated machine learning. That is basically previously done by very experienced data scientists who basically It learned and trained on machine learning techniques and algorithms for years and years. They come with years and years of experience, and they need years and years of experience to do a machine learning model. Now you're going to do it in 5 minutes. You're going to do it yourself without how to do any coding. No coding required, no coding whatsoever required. So this has a limited number of capabilities, more than enough for you to do certain great things in your workplace. They are aimed at basically non-experts in machine learning. So they are aimed at people like finance professionals, other professionals, not engineering professionals. So it is for you and I. So why not use from tomorrow? Now, this is kind of how machine learning fits into AI. It's a subset of AI. A process of training a piece of software called a model to make useful prediction or generate content from data. That is machine learning. It's a subset of AI. These are the popular tools. Azure and machine learning is one. Google has their own tool. AWS has their own tool. H2O is another platform. There are multiple platforms available for this. Go with the one that your organization chooses to go with. That depends on your IT infrastructure. Now, what can they do? These are the steps of creating it. You have to get the data right. You have to select the right model and then run the model. Run means you train the model and then test the model, deploy the model, and then integrate into your business. I'm going to use the same data set for consistency, and I'm going to use Azure as the platform. This is Azure, right? So let me go into Azure, and let me go and close my ChatGPT for bandwidth reason. This is Azure Machine Learning. This is the Azure Machine Learning suite. And here, this is where you normally do your Azure Machine Learning models. You do the coding here, you do Python coding here, and then you run your machine learning algorithms here. These are executed models. Now, this is where you have automated machine learning. They are already automated for you. There are only 5 steps and 5 clicks you have to basically click to get to a machine learning model. Remember how we did a forecast in a custom GPT? I'm going to do a forecast here. And these are the steps. So you go to Azure Machine Learning and you have the automated ML. Open up automated ML you want to run. In this field, you have to give a name for your model. So type SAFA AI Forum is the name. Click next. Then you need to give the data. Sorry, it needs to give you the data and select the type. Now, these are the common types available. These are the common models trained and ready to use for your work in your workplace. So classification models, differentiate cats versus dogs, colors, whatever the classification you need to do, you can use these models. It has regression, basically predict a continuous number. It has time series forecast. If you want to do a forecast for next year or next 5 years, next 3 years, that's what you use. It has natural language processing. If you want to basically use it on your standards, this is what you can do. You can use a natural language processing and ask questions from your standards, ask questions from your other, finance standard documents. Or in your organization, you can use it for the general ledger and basically query on your basically descriptions. And then computer vision, basically identifying objects. Multiple applications are there for that. So for our forecasting one, I'm going to use time series. Now, we have to give the data here, select the data. Now, I have already loaded the other data set, the Excel file here, so I'm going to select it. Now, selected that. And now, this is where you have to basically tell what to do. I want to forecast the data. Count is the data. So I just did that, selected that column, target column. this is just a little bit of knowledge as to what it is, right? That's what you need to figure out. And then you go based on, let's say, month on this year. Done. And this is going to ask which computer to use, and you use your standard computer. And that's all what you do to run an automated machine learning model. You can submit this job for training, and it's going to take 45 minutes. So I'm not going to submit it because, this is going to end before. I'm going to show the model I ran to showcase you guys. So this is the time series forecast I ran. As I said, it has taken 46 minutes. Reasonable time to run and train. It has run hundreds of models and identified the best model, and it is giving me the best results. I'm going to show you the results here. Right? This is the number of models it has gone through. So many models basically run automatically for you, and this is the best model, Animax. And here is the metrics data for it. This is a little bit of basically going through. Here is your forecast. There is a predicted line. There is an actual line. You can basically use this model in your sales forecasting process or budgeting process or any other process. You can use these basically easily in all other business processes you have. That is machine learning. Can you do that? How easy is that? It's so easy. So you should be able to do it, on your time, in your work, experimentations, and incorporate them anytime tomorrow, right? Let me go back to the presentation. Now, that's the second pillar. I'm going to go through the third pillar. Third pillar is insights. Now you have an assistant. You have machine learning in your pocket. But the irony of that is that you're not going to give all of these to everyone in your organization. You cannot give this to your salespeople. You cannot give this to your marketing people. You cannot give this to your, warehouse people. You cannot give it to junior people. It's going to two reasons. One, you have to give them the data if you give the tools. The second reason is you don't want everyone to basically have access to data that has a lot of privacy attributes and things like that. So the way you're going to basically give all these tools to your staff or your people in the organization is through these insights platforms. They are common platforms you have seen before. You have used them before. So what is insight? Insight is a clear and deep understanding of a situation. So you're so clear that you can take the action. That is insight. These are the characteristics of insight. They're actionable. You know what to do with it. They're derived from data, and there is a strategic impact. These are the common tools you have seen already. There is Power BI, there's Tableau, there's Click, there are multiple others, right? Depending on what you use, you should be able to do what I show here. I'm going to use the same data set for consistency, right? And I'm going to use one of the platforms, which is Power BI. Let me get out of the PowerPoint into the Power BI. This is Power BI, and I'm going to get the data and play around with it and show you some of the capabilities. Get data. I'm going to get the Excel file. Here you go. Bang, it loaded this. This is probably, something you have done this before. So I'm going to assume that you have a pretty good understanding of what I'm doing here. Sorry, I think it loaded here. I want to basically create a new blank report. Just bear with me, creating a blank report. I just basically played around with data before, so I want to use a new one and show you what I have done there. And do the same exercise, get data. CSV file. and load it. It is loading the data. Correct. There you go. Data is on this side, on the far right, and I'm going to do a few things with it. So I put the total sales number, and I'm going to put probably month, sales by month. There you go. I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm going to use sales by season. I'm just going to basically create a few visualizations. I'm going to basically use sales number by weather situation. For examples, I'm going to use another one. Let's do it by maybe humidity. There you go. I can slot in another one. Let me squeeze them in. I'm going to do another one by wind speed. There you go. And then I'm going to show you some of the tools available here, just to remind you. I want to do a narrative on this. Let's put the narrative here. I'm going to create the narrative there. There you go. It created a narrative. I'm going to do a key influencer chart. What do I want to understand? So I want to understand the total sales, analyze total sales by, let's say, humidity, wind speed, and temperature. So it's already giving me answers there. There you go. It is explaining what influences the total sales based on those three. I'm going to ask question and answers from this data easily. You can ask any average per month. There you go. It will give you the answer. Now I'm going to put basically a filter on this one just to make sure that I filters on this page. Very basic one for you. These are the 2 years, and it is filtering both. Let it be there. Now, the bit I wanted to show you is not that. I'm pretty sure you know how to do these things, right? If you go to data, now this is how you integrate all of your other tools to here, into this. You should be able to bring your models. This is Azure Machine Learning. These are the different machine learning AI technique tools you have, AI insights you have. You can bring all of them into here. I'm not going to do it because of the bandwidth. So you can easily bring all of them and provide access to your staff for this insight platform. That's how they are going to basically leverage your tools that you have today. So this is the third one, and third one is bringing everything home. Third one is basically bringing everyone to the same page and giving access to all the tools across the organization. So that's the third one. And then let's have a very quick look at the maturity of data modeling and interface, or DMI, before I hand over to Phil. What is DMI? It's data modeling and interface. Remember when we basically had the New York sales data or the bike hire data? That data was absolutely clean, absolutely accurate, had all the data columns with all the data fields. That's the level of data quality you have to have in your organization. That's the level of access you need to have in your organization. So depending on how complex your organization, there are going to be a lot of data issues. So without your good data, without quality data, without transformation done, you cannot do modeling. Now, I showed you how to do modeling. You can do complex modeling with very experienced data engineers or data scientists in your organization, or you can do some custom models for your own area as well. And then all of that are useless if you cannot interface into the business. That's where the inside platforms come into effect. Now, all these areas are absolutely critical, and you should achieve very high level of maturity for your organization to be an AI winner. Now, with that, I'll hand over to Phil to cover his experience.
Hi, Prabhas.
Yeah, over to you, Phil.
Very good. Let me just set this up here. All right. Hopefully you can see my main screen. Can I get a confirmation of that?
Yeah, good. We can see.
Excellent. Okay. So thank you for that, Prabhash. So just to introduce myself, my name's Phil Ball. I'm the CEO and a co-founder of a company called Optivia, and we're a provider of BI analytics and increasingly now AI services to large corporates in Australia. And what I was hoping to share with you today was just a bit of my experience and observations from working with customers in the past 10 to 15 years of BI analytics world and now AI, and hopefully share some what I think are challenges and opportunities that you should at least be aware of as you embark on your journey into AI. So I've broken it down into some basic categories, and then at the end we'll go through some general observations and tips. So I guess to start with, it's important for us to understand what is going on in the world of AI, what's driving the adoption. And I think it was said at the very beginning, in the introductions, there's a lot of hype. I mean, every time you look at the news, there's a new story, and literally just in the last 3 hours, I read that PwC has invested in 100,000 open AI licenses to arm many of its people to do all the things that we're just Prabhash is showing us right now. So the point there is that every business I engage with and every business person has to be asking about AI. They are compelled to ask what they should be doing, or they're asking for us to help them do it. And the only thing I'd say on that is that with the hype comes a lot of questions from people who don't actually know what they're asking for. And that's not casting aspersions on them. They just don't know what AI can do for them. And that's an opportunity for all of us to give our opinions and our advice. But really, when you break it down, in our experience at least, the hype has to be backed up by something tangible. And I've come up with a few things here that I'm seeing a lot. So the big one, and Prabhash has done a great job of illustrating that, is the productivity gains. The idea that you've got really the best personal assistant ever. You can get so much more done. You can do things that you've never been able to do before. You can probably do it to a higher standard than you could have ever thought possible. So I'll just give you some examples of what we're doing and what we're seeing our customers do. So I have a lot of people in my company who are very competent in writing code, but they can easily be 25% plus more productive. The code that they can produce is of a much higher standard. Then I've got a group of people who are quite low on their knowledge of code. They may have other skills all around BI and analytics, and they're using AI to accelerate their learning. So Python, which is very popular and very widespread in our client organizations. Someone was telling me the other day that they never really looked at Python before. They are now already building Python models and creating separate environments to run these Python models, and that their productivity is through the roof. And one of the other good use cases that I like, it gets things done that you may not want to do. So the idea that it will write documents, we can document code. We can document other people's code. I was looking at a use case for accounting firms using it to write their engagement letters through effective prompting. They can template communications with clients, and they can change the tone of the communication to suit the relationship they already enjoy. Conversational versus formal, soft and empathetic versus technical or matter of fact. So we're seeing all of this being a real productivity multiplier. Now, that's all very, very powerful, and it has come about mainly through the advent of ChatGPT for us. What's more interesting for me is the better business performance measurement, because as historically a BI and analytics company, we've always been very interested in finding the measurements in the business that can drive better decisions. What insights can we give to business people? And we've now been leveraging very effectively, particularly machine learning, but also now more and more generative AI, to identify and define metrics that we weren't even thinking of before, things that we thought were too difficult to do. So, for example, customer sentiment. Customer sentiment is somewhat hard to codify and quantify, but you can do it. And then you can align it with other key metrics in a business like financial performance. That really is a great enhancer for business people wanting to make optimal business decisions. So, for us, these are big help in what we already do. And then there's the automation of all of that. So it's not just the metrics, the new metrics that we can find and define, but also the way that we choose to refresh them, to report on them, to display them, so we can fully automate through machine learning a metric, and then it can learn and optimize over time. Now, new market offerings is not as common for us, but we have helped organizations transform some of their offerings. So we had an energy retailer, very boring industry, energy retail, and quite traditional, where the energy rate was very rigid, the rate that people paid for their electricity, that is. And through machine learning and AI, we've been able to come up with a dynamic pricing capability where it continually looks at pricing through the competition, through the internet. What are they seeing other companies offer? They've come up with pricing that is specific to segments of their market. It's reactive to what they're seeing in the competitive landscape, and they can do that in hours, and it would have taken weeks, many weeks to do that previously. So price changing has been compressed from weeks to hours. And customer service is another big one where we're seeing opportunities to help customer service and salespeople who are engaging in real time with their customers, online or in person, being prompted on screens with offers or suggestions for conversation that is specific to the customer they're speaking to based on their past behavior and what they are or how they are currently engaging. So it could be a bank or a telco, for example. So it's very powerful for customer retention or customer acquisition. And the one that I'm presuming is probably most interesting to a lot of people on this call, risk reduction. We see a big use case for using ML, for example, to do fraud and theft detection. We do a lot of work in assurance, revenue assurance and supply chain assurance. There's a lot of data reconciliation work and a need to find mistakes and errors in business logic. That was a very, very arduous process in the past. That's been streamlined immeasurably. And I was just reading the article about PwC's purchase of OpenAI, and they're talking about automating tax return screening. So being able to screen documents and convert that into structured information and glean insights is very interesting. And one of the use cases we're working on at the moment in supply chain, looking at supplier contracts And instead of manually checking each contract for the compliance over a particular ethics clause that they were looking at, they wanted to make sure that every supplier they worked with had a clause and wanted to understand what that clause meant from an enforcement and auditability point of view. And that meant manually opening up each contract, finding the particular area in the contract, extracting it into another area, another storage area to then analyze. Now AI can just simply take all of those documents, analyzing them, identifying immediately the area, automating the extraction, and dropping into another area, and then analyzing that information and giving you a summarized report of its findings. So it's still productivity gains, but it's specifically in the area of compliance, regulatory compliance, or internal audit. So these are all really kind of big, exciting opportunities. But the thing that I wanted to also share with you is a bit of a reality. So AI maturity in large organizations. For those of you that might be a little bit intimidated by the subject or feel that you don't know enough, all I can say is you'd be relieved and surprised to understand that large organizations aren't as mature as you might think. Yes, they have pockets of experts, but they tend to be in silos and they tend to be working on some big and important initiatives. It leaves a great opportunity to work in more regular business units where they are looking for incremental improvements. So everything that we've just talked about, productivity gains, new insights, risk reduction. Now, I can probably say I'm talking a lot about customers, and for me, customers are my clients. And many of you will have client-facing roles, but for those of you that are in internal roles for your companies, probably best just to think of your customers as stakeholders or interested parties in your AI initiatives, people that you want support from, people that you need to win over, or people that you need to deliver to. And all I say is you don't need to be an expert to meet their needs. If you think of the concept that I've been taught once before about value, value can be measured according to the extent by which you fall short, meet, or exceed a customer's expectations. So as long as you can meet or exceed just a little bit what your customers were expecting, you will be valuable. You do not have to be an AI expert to be valued and to have a big impact. However, you do have to align the business objectives. And this is important. This is something that we see doesn't happen enough. So the number one lesson I can share with you is that customers don't always know what they want. They might tell you what they want. That may not necessarily be what they want or need. That's partly because customers may not be good at articulating it. It's also because they may not know what is possible. So simply responding to a customer's request may not help you meet or exceed their expectation. So my advice would be to take the consultant's kind of approach, be very curious, and rather than focusing on the what I should be doing, think about the why, be focused on outcomes. So the typical questions are, what is this trying to achieve with the business? Why do you want it? What are you going to do with the results? Who's going to be the audience? How are they going to engage with it? How often will they be using it? These questions are more about what is the end state going to look like? And from that, your solution, your approach will be right-sized and fit for purpose rather than over-engineered and missing the mark. Now, again, having said all of that, the big thing to look out for, the thing that will trip you up more than missing the alignment to the business is the data. And Prabhash, you talk about this a little bit. It's the number one barrier for us as an organization and what we've seen in our customers for achieving desired outcomes. We work in large corporates that have very complex environments. They have dozens of systems, and those systems contain different data, some of the same data, but it's still not the same because they've got inconsistency, so it's supposed to contain the same data. There's all sorts of quality issues, and then there's the question of whether it's suitable for the purpose, and depending on your needs, your analysis, does the data, in its form, in its structure, is it suitable and is it accessible? And when your data is sitting in many different systems, you're going to have have a strategy for ensuring that your data will support your work before you commit to the results and the deliverables to the stakeholders. So again, my advice on this, data discovery is an absolutely essential element prior to commencing your work in AI or analytics, doing a feasibility check on the data, and from that coming up with the right approach to preparing your data. So data preparation can be very small scale. It doesn't have to be huge. It must be right sized to the objective. You do not want to get into the problem of trying to fix all the things that are wrong with all the data you're looking at, because in a large organization, you will never get there. And you will just get stuck with data quality and data governance issues, and never actually commence your AI project. So keep the data prep focused on the or right-sized for the mission. And then you've got a choice of how you're going to approach it. There are many data platforms out there. There are great tools. We have some preferences ourselves, very visual tools for managing data. But as Prabhash showed you, you've already got the ability through a lot of technologies and through AI to understand data quality concerns and to fix data types. So whether you choose a platform, tools, or code, or hopefully soon AI will better resolve all of this for you. Whatever you use, the human must oversee all of this. You can't allow this to just get fully automated, because it will trip you up later on. So AI is not going to replace, but it will certainly augment your strategy for data readiness. Coming on to one of the last points here, what we hear a lot from our customers is either a lot of concern based on a misunderstanding of AI, or a lot of genuine concern. Now, talk in terms of security, cyber security, or ethics, or actual legal obligations. Big one for us is sensitive data. You would have seen, or maybe you have, in the news just recently, Ticketmaster's just had more than 500 million records, I believe, hacked for ransomware. That will probably contain very sensitive information about customers. That's the PII, the personally identifiable information, name, date of birth, contact information. This is very concerning for large corporates. It should be concerning for any organization, which makes everyone very sensitive to what you are doing with new tech. I'm not saying that sensitive data is a particularly AI-related issue, but you've got to realize when you're dealing with your customers what their concerns are, so that you can help them feel more comfortable about what you're going to do. So you can't just ignore it, you should address it. One of the concerns about using the likes of ChatGPT in, sorry, I'm getting an antivirus, having said security, I'm getting my Bitdefender telling me there's a problem here. Using publicly available ChatGPT or any of the generative AI engines. So there is a concern about that, and we are told not to use that in in our corporate clients. And the last three are similar in nature in that they talk to the concern about AI being a black box. So if, and I noticed, for example, that in Prabhash's example of Power BI, that it generated an image. So Power BI, one of his AutoMLs, generated an image. And in the image, it attributed the person who had taken the picture and the source of that image. And that's good, because the concern will be that you may use in a corporate environment your generative AI capabilities to produce amazing things, complete maybe a submission to the customer, and then find out that it's actually used copyrighted materials or IP that you don't own, and that jeopardize your the integrity of your employer. Bias in data, there is always bias in every in all data analysis. But the problem with AI would be whether it's in a black box and you're not aware of the bias. And that really feeds into lack of transparency and auditability. So if you are let's say, an accounting company producing statutory filings or tax documents, and you must comply with certain standards and you have to explain how you've arrived at your findings, then the lack of transparency or auditability, because you can't explain how AI had produced it, would leave you in a difficult position. So the issues here are really about understanding what your obligations are and just being aware of what AI maybe leaves you vulnerable or exposed, or it just leaves customers feeling uncomfortable. There is a lot of talk in large corporates now about executives not knowing where the lines are between the law and the ethics, and I think there's going to be a lot published quite soon, probably starting out of Europe, around guidance and probably laws about ethical use and legal use of AI. So lastly, and my camera stopped, so I hope you can all still hear me and I'm not talking to myself. I'll just share my final observations and tips. You will come across apprehensive and skeptical customers. That's okay, not a problem. But my advice on this would be to win them over, start small, identify some quick wins. And very important that you don't try to be taking them too far beyond their level of comprehension. If they are bewildered, they will remain or become even more skeptical. So focus again on what's important to them. Be the consultant, understand their business objectives. Make sure you identify an opportunity to work on that is you are confident you can achieve, and then do that little bit more than meet their expectations. Now, repeatability and reusability, we've talked a bit about automation, so you could argue that's repeatability. But a lot of people build solutions with a very
Yeah, hi Prabhash, it seems some technical connectivity.
Yeah, I think Phil is having technical issues. I think it's time for Janet to take over anyway, so why don't you take over, Janet?
Yeah.
Yeah, happy to do that. Shall I share screen then rather than someone else doing it?
Yes, you can go ahead.
Yeah, you.
Share your screen.
Yeah, there we go. Okay. Let me see if I can get this working. Tell me if you see your presentation. It says innovation, Prabhash?
Yes, we
Yeah,
can
all
see.
good.
All right. Not sure what happened to Phil, but the tips that he would have had, it's worth getting that last slide. So I'm going to talk about innovation. So everything that Prabhash said about the technology and how and sort of where we're at, and then Phil was going through his experience with organizations that he's talked to and worked with. There's a light like right on top of my head. I'm going to talk about innovation. So innovation as a culture, innovation in the sense of, innovation in the sense of shifts, in markets and what we actually need globally, but also within an organization. So here, for example, we talk about, what companies were successful, say 24 years ago now, and how they've changed. And I'm not going to go through the list, but I do recommend that you have a look at some of these and just look them up and just sort of see where they're at now and what might have happened, and whether the trajectory, indeed has moved them up the list or they've come down the list. So Enron, for example, as a finance professional, as we would have heard, failed due to a complex web of accounting fraud, poor management practices, market manipulation, regulatory failures. There's quite a kit in there. And so arguably, had AI been integrated into Enron's operations, there would have been some things that could have happened to in the sense of identifying and preventing some of these activities that I just mentioned. So, for example, AI could have flagged the irregularities in Enron's use of special purpose entities. That was one of the things they were pulled up on. Continuous monitoring and real-time auditing would have been useful in terms of picking up the manipulation of financial statements, and compliance could have been automated and driven by AI to ensure that they continued to remain legally and compliant with legal and regulatory requirements. ExxonMobil, they have strategically used AI. So there's a few examples there. They use it in the geospatial geoscience field. In terms of sort of a workbench solution, they have managed to reduce their emissions by leveraging artificial intelligence to detect and quantify, first of all, the emissions, and then from there able to put in some mitigation strategies and deal with the issue. Energy efficiency as well. So having AI drive analytics and use it to optimize energy consumption. And I'll talk a little bit more about research in that space shortly. Ford. If we look at the car market, Ford's been a bit of a lag. There's been a bit of a lag there in terms of what products they have in the market, what vehicles, so compared to some of their competitors. So, and they've been a bit slower also to adopt AI technologies, for example, autonomous driving, even within their manufacturing plants and in terms of their customer experience. So another example, so General Electric, you'll see the numbers mean, like, so for example, in General Electric's case, they've moved from 5th to 18th. From 5th, sorry, to 18th, amongst one of the quite a successful company. The move was due to the fact that they're over diversified. So and it led to financial instability, and there was a slower adoption of AI. So and it's quite a complex organization as well. So there's just some examples for you to just think about what's happened. For an organization was successful, but where is it now? These examples here. So in certain sectors. So if you have a look at this one, split between airlines, mobiles, movie, and travel. Southwest Airlines, they emphasize operational efficiency. American Airlines was slower in terms of innovation. The key lesson there being embrace innovation, prioritize efficiency. And Phil talked about it, Prabhash talked about it a little bit, but Phil talked about making sure that you're customer centric and you're listening to your customers. In the mobiles, I mean, I don't think I have to tell anybody what happened. I used to have a Nokia phone. I thought I had Ericsson and then I had Nokia, but I am Apple all the way. It's user experience. It's easy to use, the design, the ecosystem that it's developed, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in terms of the app ecosystem as well. TV. So many of us will remember going to Blockbuster to get a video and then get a DVD. And so Netflix just came out with a whole different model. It was online, it was subscription based. and Blockbuster wanted to stand by its shops, like bricks and mortar stores, and they were very late. They did come to the party, and I believe they were approached originally as well, and they shunned the idea, but they did ultimately get to the whole digital streaming, but it was too late. It was first mover advantage for Netflix. In the car market, so Uber is global, but there'll be examples in different parts of the world, and I'll talk a little bit. There's a couple of Ola, I think, in India, and Lyft perhaps is in India as well. But yeah, so Uber, taxis. I was just saying this to somebody just the other day. I was at the airport. I got down at Sydney Airport, and yeah, there was a whole stand for taxis, and then there was a whole stand for Uber. And there was still, yeah, but gone are the days when Uber comes and picks you up from, somewhere far away. It's actually really a big part of the ecosystem now. And what they did was, it's more convenient, it's on demand, you get your pricing, it's already fixed, the payment is already done. I don't have to get out my credit card, and get a little piece of paper for the receipt. It's all invoiced to me. You can track the driver, someone can track where you're going, you can share where you are in terms of your journey. So customer experience, for example, and just automating everything, thinking about data. Imagine the tons of data that they have. So there are types of innovation though. So when an organization, and you're talking to an organization or a client, you're thinking about this whole innovation space, there are types of innovation. So continuing innovation is a it's a culture of experimenting with new ideas, being really adaptable, and what we call continuous improvement. So to remain relevant, to remain competitive. So your products, your ongoing enhancement and improvement of products or services, incorporating customer feedback, market trends, that sort of thing. You are, you're seeking cutting edge solutions. So you're wanting to attract and as well as retain customers, and you want to give them superior experiences. Your satisfaction, your customers' needs are evolving, like customer demands. We want something, we want everything now. We're at that age now where everything has to be instant, even as one example of how things have changed. We don't like going into stores and browsing. We like browsing online. There's some other examples as well. But you have to keep at it in terms of customer loyalty. You're also, in this type of innovation, you will see revenue gains, obviously. New products, enhancements in products, and your customers will be willing to pay for the enhanced features and the improvements in quality and reliability, because you've put the effort in. It's driven by innovation. And then with continuous innovation, you remain relevant in the market. Your business remains relevant. You're showing that you're adaptable. You're able to respond to emerging challenges, and then you're capitalizing and doubling down on opportunities. I want to talk now, though, about game-changing innovation. So there's innovation, and then there's game-changing innovation. Okay, this is transformative. Like, the shift is transformative. It's a breakthrough. It alters the industry. It alters the market. It alters society. So we're not talking about little improvements, really. So it's game-changing. So it's disruptive. It's about ideas, it's about technologies, it's about business models, and it's redefining the status quo and creating, this. I'll talk about markets. So continuous improvement is great, and it enhances the products and processes. Game-changing innovation, you could say, is revolutionizing the products and services. So it's rapid growth. You dominate the market very quickly. And most likely there's been a significant impact in terms of the society. So an example of that is Xero, if you're familiar with the accounting software that's from New Zealand. Pretty simple. It was available. All he did was make it available online, so you could access it from anywhere, and you could share that access with other people. And that was it. And MYOB missed the boat on that one. So game-changing innovation is market creating as well as market altering. So you can create markets, so entirely new products, services, business models. They fundamentally, like I said, they transform industries, and they revolutionize the way people live, work, and play and interact. Think of the smartphone. I talked about that before. And the smartphone example I mentioned earlier as well is that it's created this whole other new market segment, which is the apps. And internet usage, and this whole digital ecosystem that's just continuing to evolve and expand. Game-changing innovation is also market altering. So it's involves significant changes. So it's driven by disruption in terms of technology and new business models generally, and it modifies the dynamics of markets. So challenging, what's going on there at the moment, challenging who's already in the market, existing practices, what's going on, how things work. And an example of that is the ride sharing platforms. And incidentally, I was actually on a call recently, and there's a new one coming out now, which is actually like the umbrella of all of these ride sharing platforms, but more about logistics, the movement of goods between people and places. So it's really interesting. It's just a new startup. But yeah, so Uber, Lyft, Ola, I think is in India. Didi is another one. There's quite a few of them. Some of them, dominate more than others, but that's game-changing innovation. So just a couple more examples. I don't want to dwell on the examples. You can look them up yourself. But hotels, I haven't talked about hotels. So you used to go to a hotel. It was the way you booked it, through a travel agent or a part of a package, or in person, or yeah, not in person, but online through the website, or in person. Airbnb comes along, and it was only hotels, that's where you would stay. Airbnb comes along and thinks about how can people book accommodation, but also what is accommodation, so what is available as accommodation. So it's a market creating innovation. And the market, or the new market that it's created, is peer-to-peer lodging rentals. So me and someone coming and staying at my house or my property, as opposed to going through an establishment. But it was also market altering. So the hotels that were the hotels even now that are still there, they're investing in technology, and they're thinking about their guest experience, and they're diversifying in terms of the offerings they have in order to compete. So it was altering, but as well as creating. Same with Tesla. So Tesla comes out. BYOD is a Chinese automotive that's initially, I think they were focused on like just traditional, petrol or like petrol engines. But later they shifted to EV, seeing that Tesla had created this new market, and the market demand for EVs prompted BYD to invest heavily in BYD. And if I look around now, like in New Zealand and Australia, I could honestly say we see more BYD cars than we do Tesla cars in Melbourne and regional New Zealand. So really interesting shift there. I've got this and one more slide. So, but what does it take? So it's really important, the technology is there. You could say, the data is there, not necessarily the right data, and we need to put a lot of data governance and frameworks and things in place for that. But the technology is there. We need to underpin that with innovation. But what does that really take? So game-changing innovation requires leadership. So a very clear understanding of market trends, customer needs, emerging technologies. So it's not everybody's cup of tea, so to speak, in terms of organization. You need cross-disciplinary collaboration. So a lot of the innovation that we see comes from the intersection of different disciplines, and also scientists with engineers, with designers and business experts. You get greater creativity, you get greater diversity of thought, and you get really problem solving, doubling down on problem solving. So sorry, I don't know why I was tapping that. You need a culture, and Phil was talking about, just see where your client's at in terms of this one, but you need a risk-taking culture. So embracing risk and failure, it's the experimental thing that I talked about before, fundamental. So you need to foster a culture of that within the organization. So encourage experimentation, tolerating failure, reward disruptive ideas that create environments, that all creates environments where breakthrough innovation can thrive. You need to be agile and adaptable as an organization, that goes without saying. So you have to be really quick to pivot in the response to customer needs, or what a competitor is doing, or what is happening in the market, or indeed what's happening in other markets that impact your market. And then keep iterating in terms of the idea or the concept and the group that you pull together to gain that competitive edge, and then keep that competitive edge, because it's going to take a lot more than it did in the past to retain that competitive edge. I've already talked about user-centric. People talk about human-centered design thinking. It's keeping the user or the the customer at the center of all of the decisions that you make. Phil did touch on, I think, or Prabhash, about, the customer doesn't already know what they need as well. Like sometimes the customer doesn't know what they need, and so there's a little bit of that. The key one that I do want to talk about is R&D. So I work in, I manage an association of all the majority of the AI researchers in New Zealand. So all 8 universities and all the Crown Research Institutes in New Zealand are part of a organization where I'm the executive director of AI Researchers New Zealand. And I can't say enough the importance of fundamental enterprise research when it comes to driving things like game-changing innovation. And so fundamental research, yes, it's about new scientific principles, it's about novel concepts, it's about it's the groundwork that you need for breakthrough discoveries. And applied is taking these discoveries and translating them into practical applications, products, and processes. So some examples of that I can talk to that would be relevant to what we've just covered off here, and I spoke about this recently, was in the financial services, finance profession, look out for things like research in the continuous learning space. So where AI systems continuously learn from new data rather than the model not working on a new set of data, right? So the algorithms are adapting to new financial patterns and behaviors. So it's a machine learning concept where the model keeps improving and adapting over time by learning itself. And it's quite scary. But so in financial reporting, the model could stay up to date with latest financial transactions and trends. It could mean that it's refining. It basically means that it's refining its predictions and detections and identifying patterns and fraudulent activity. So for example, think real-time AML, real-time AML across, the banking system. Another one is context anomaly detection. So when you're using Gen AI, for example, one of the sort of limitations of it is it doesn't understand context. So it might come up with, from what it knows and its little knowledge base, not little, but its knowledge base, the data that it's been fed or it has access to, it doesn't really understand context well. So some research going on in that space so that it can consider the context of transactions, and it can understand, if it's looking for patterns, it can understand between normal variations and true anomalies, for example, if it's doing anomaly detection. That's one to watch out for. And the other one that I want to talk about is green AI. So R&D in the green AI space. And so it means two things. So it's AI being used to minimize the adverse impact on the environment of AI. And it's AI also being used to benefit the environment in terms of solutions and innovation. So for example, I know researchers that are working on making the models really energy efficient. So that they can run, for example, on the edge, where you can't get data out of, say, you can't have a mesh network bringing data out of a forest, or another situation where it's really hard to get the data out into the cloud and do the processing somewhere. You need to be able to process on site on the edge, potentially machine to machine as well, but also in terms of data centers and optimizing hardware operation in data centers and the processing power, because we all know, the more this cloud thing isn't really a cloud, actually it's data centers somewhere. It's going to be amazing how many people I come across that think it's in the cloud somewhere. I have no idea where that is. But the impact on the environment, so the fact that, the more that we use AI and that compute, the 45 or 46 minutes that model ran for Prabhash, that is running somewhere on some server that's requiring electricity, for example, and that's an impact on the environment. So it can also, we touched on this previously a little bit, which is optimize energy consumption. So within a building, so for example, you're using less energy as well. So transport networks, industrial processes, buildings, that sort of thing. Phil touched on risks. So it can be looking at, enhancing risk management practices in accounting and finance. In the ESG space, it can be looking for, it can work more effectively to identify and analyze ESG data to mitigate greenwashing. So there are some examples of green AI. So that would be the three sort of areas of AI that I would be watching quite closely in terms of R&D. And another two that I want to quickly mention is So ensure, like Prabhash talked about bias. So techniques such as fairness-aware machine learning and bias detection algorithms are really important. So there's a lot of research going into that. And also Phil talked about privacy. So there's a lot of work going into research around privacy enhancing technology. So federated learning models, differential privacy, and AI models that can learn from decentralized data sources while preserving the privacy of individuals. Now, what does this have to do with you guys? So we touched on it previously that in AI, you need a human in the loop. And I think accountants and finance professionals are a key type of human that we need to drive innovation. So can accountants develop game-changing solutions in the age of AI? Absolutely. So we've been at the forefront of managing and interpreting financial data for eons, right? It's the foundational, this foundational expertise is crucial because data is the new currency, okay? So the AI's ability to process vast amounts of data that you saw in the examples today quickly, accurately, you need to transition from your traditional role to become advisors. And I spoke about this very recently, advisors and innovators. You need to, we're already, you know, if accountants are already skilled in data analysis, you know, if not accountants, who is, you know? So AI enhances these, providing tools for predictive analytics, anomaly detection, and real-time financial monitoring that I mentioned, for example, in the AML space. So the accountant then can sit back and be more again in an advisory role, you know, offering deeper insights and foresight, and you're the trusted stakeholder that works with the business already, and so it's just taking that a step further and enabling them, you know, to make more informed decisions. You know, AI automates routine tasks. We just saw that: reconciliation, compliance checks, creating graphs, you know, doing trend analysis. It reduces errors, so accountants, you know, we can focus then on high value tasks because that is taken, you know, that part of our role is taken away. We can be developing AI-driven solutions. So we understand the finance systems, we understand how the finance markets work, we understand how businesses work. So we are very well positioned to collaborate with the data scientists and the IT professionals and the researchers who develop AI-driven solutions. And I'm lucky I get to be, you know, work in those spaces. So we need to be the subject matter expert in those spaces. Risk management and compliance, you know, we can implement and manage these AI solutions. You know, the assurance space, AI assurance is going to, you know, escalate. It's amazing that space. Just watch that space. We already, as I said, you know, we support strategic decision making. You know, it's that on steroids. And the other key one is, you know, the rapid evolution of AI. So when Prabhash talked about the history of AI and the winter and then the summer and then, you know, where we are at now, as accountants, we're already accustomed to continuing our professional development, you know, like it's part of our DNA. Ethics is a part of our DNA and professional development is part of our DNA. So we're best positioned to embrace this change, right? So upskilling in AI technologies like you are all doing now, staying up to date with industry trends, you know, this commitment to lifelong learning that we already have is going to help us to harness AI effectively and remain ever so relevant as these technologies continue to evolve. So if not us, then who? Because we are best positioned to drive game-changing solutions in the age of AI. Thank you.
Thanks, Prabhash. Thanks, Phil, and thanks, Jannat, for this is a very wonderful session. So we have been receiving so much queries, questions. So can I ask one or two questions? Because it is not possible to ask all the questions. So Prabhash, there is one question. Right? Yeah. So there is one question. What are the biggest challenges organizations facing while implementing AI?
The biggest one, as Phil said, is basically not having the right data. That is the biggest one. I can go maybe big three, right? So that's the biggest one. Next one is basically not having the right skill staff. Skill is the next one. And third one is obviously not basically understanding what business requirements are. So they are the three. So the biggest one basically data.
Right. So there is one more question. Like you have demonstrated the forecasting and predictive AI in ChatGPT. You use 4.0, right? So someone asked, what is the key difference between 4 and 4.0? Like,
4.0 is the latest version. Is the latest version. 4 is the previous version, and 4. So there is a paid version of that. 4 was the paid version, and then the latest version, which is 4.0, is available to both paid and free users. But paid users get more, usage. So 4.0 is the latest version.
Yeah, so there are, too much comments are coming that your session was, all of 3 sessions are very much wonderful. One more question, last question I'm asking, whether while we are uploading the data on 4.0 or 4 ChatGPT, like suppose for the analysis, we are doing some data. So is there any data breach, whether my data is going to public or it is with me only?
So it's a wonderful question, actually. So if you're putting your personal information, my advice is do not do that.
Right.
Or your
But if you
clients.
want to basically use, if you want to use generative AI, have your company, designated instance. So it's a very private generative AI platform for your organization. You can put your company data into it.
Right. So we have been receiving a lot of comments. We will organize such sessions more where we can have, we can have demonstration of more tools like Copilot and other tools also. So like without wasting time, I will ask my colleague, Mr. Rishi Tandon, to summarize this.
Thank you.
Rishi, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Vishnu. Hello, everyone. As we conclude today's enlightening session on Accelerate AI Transformation, on behalf of the AI and ICAI and the Digital Accounting and Assurance Board of the ICAI and SAFA, we are honored to extend a heartfelt vote of thanks to all those who made this event a resounding success. First of all, we express our deepest gratitude to our leadership and distinguished speakers. Our President of ICAI, C. Ranjeet Kumar Agarwal, Vice President ICAI, C. Charanjot Singh Nanda, SAFA President, Mr. Heshna Kuruppu, Vice President SAFA, Mr. Ashfaq Tola, Chairman AI and ICAI, and Vice Chairman DAAB, C.A. Dayanivas Sharma ji, Vice Chairman AI, C.A. Umesh Sharma ji, and our distinguished speakers, Mr. Prabhash Gelagadera, Mr. Phil Ball, and Ms. Jannat Makbul Madam, for their invaluable insights and contributions. Their expertise has greatly enhanced our understanding of the transformative power of AI in our profession. A special mention and thanks to the teams at AI and ICAI and Digital Accounting and Assurance Board for the tireless efforts in coordinating this event. And to our audience, your engagement and enthusiasm has been truly inspiring. Your participation and the questions in the end has not only made this webinar interactive, but also enriched our collective learning experience. Lastly, we would thank our technical team behind the scenes who ensured everything ran smoothly. Thank you once again to all of you who joined us today for this enlightening session. Let us continue to embrace AI, innovate, and propel our profession toward greater heights. Looking forward for more such webinars and seminars on AI in our future endeavors. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.